Why are carpenter's pencils flat? There's two obvious reasons and a few maybe not so obvious. And the first is, it's not going to roll away. That thing will not get away from you. You can use it on a roof and it falls out of your hand. It's going to stay there. By the way, Next Level Carpentry is a great channel, and he sent me some pencils. I've been saving this one. So that's reason number one. It's not going to escape you. Reason number two is in the width axis. I mean, think of a 4x12. The strength of a 4x12 beam depends on the 12, not the 4. And the strength of that pencil depends on the extra width, including in the lead, the graphite. So you can bear down. You can make a mark that's deep enough to actually emboss the wood fibers. Try that with one of these, and you're going to go back to the sharpener. So if there's a downside to a carpenter's pencil, it's that it takes a little practice to be able to sharpen them in a hurry. I've done a video on this. I like to sharpen them, restraining it with my thumb, and working my way around all four sides, exposing the full size, and then working the graphite down to whatever kind of point I want. Now other people do the opposite, and they sharpen it by pushing it away with their thumb. But however you do it, you control it and actually make the thing cut by pushing it with your thumb in a controlled way rather than simply using an unrestrained or directed forearm move. So you missed the whole point. Get it if it takes you too long to do this. Practice. So scribing is a time-honored carpenter technique where you actually mark alongside the piece that you're trying to cut or match to rather than getting out your tape measure and square. You butt the piece up and mark it. We've done videos on that. If you're doing finish work, if it's case or base or moldings or crown mold and you're scribing, you know, a little pencil like this is all right. But if you're trying to do something heavier, a pencil that is sharpened, let me see if we have one sharpened a little differently. Okay, this is sharpened to two different points. This one is sharpened to a sharp edge across the narrow axis. This is a sharp edge across the wide axis and a narrow, but mostly across the wide axis. And this can change the way you can scribe. So if you're scribing right to 0, you got the strength of the width, he said, of the material, like that. But maybe you need an extra 1/4 of an inch, in which case you can lay that wide pencil against that thing and get 5/16. Or the other way, you can get a little less. Or the other way, you can get a lot less. So you can scribe 4 different distances with one pencil sharpened in 2 different ways on each end. And by the way, that's one of the comments that we got on an earlier video about sharpening a pencil, is that a framer at least ought to think about having both ends sharp, because sooner or later the lead always gets broken off and you either stop to sharpen or flip it over, pull up the other side and keep working. A key aspect of your pencil is how available is it. And since your pencil almost always is working together with your tape, where do you carry them in your bags? Well, you don't carry them on the same side. I'm right-handed, so I pull the pencil out with my right hand while I'm pulling the tape out with my left hand. You see that? Boom, boom, boom. Let's do that again. If we had the pencil on the same side, we don't even have the holder over there, but if we had the tape measure on the same side, now we're pulling the pencil out, putting it in our left hand, and then pulling the tape out. You don't win any gunfights like that, okay? You are ready to go like this. If you're going to be productive, the productivity is more often made up in seconds than in minutes. So back to saving time in seconds, these things, these automatic retractors, I've used with lumber crayon, bigger, stronger, faster, noisier, but apparently they work with pencils too. On your suspenders, or maybe hang one by your chop saw, so it's right there where the work's happening all the time. So before I wrap this up with 3 more ways to use a carpenter's pencil, if you have other ideas, if you've seen things, or you've thought of things, or you've thought of shipwrecks that have happened because of misusing a carpenter's pencil, put them in the comments, will you? But the first thing that I want to move forward on is a carpenter's pencil is a 1/4 inch shim. It's a 1/4 inch, just a little more sometimes in that dimension, which means if this was a window that I was setting in an opening, there's a nice even reveal. Now another place that they work really nicely It's when you're setting the case around a door and you want a nice even reveal between the inside of the jamb and the back of the case. You can just work to that. You know, you got the case up there, it's held with one hand, you've got a pencil and a nail gun in the other. You bring it over until you like the reveal. Pin. Come down 2 or 3 feet, set the reveal, pin. So it's a gauge, once again, and a shim. Now the last one is a little more controversial, but if you think carefully, you'll see I'm not just blowing smoke. But one of the realities of construction is you get things in your eye. And sometimes your buddy gets something in his eye and he needs some help getting it out. And you think, now what am I going to use to dig that piece of sawdust out of his eye? Well, the smoothest, cleanest thing that you have on the site is the tip of your carpenter's pencil. It is smooth, it is round, and you can use it to get right in there and move something out or over to the edge. Now don't tell your optometrist that I recommended this, but desperate times, desperate measures, and sometimes in order to keep moving, you just got to cut a corner. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.